Hello everyone, we're going to continue our discussion on solving systems of equations, this time by substitution. Last week we did it by graphing, and remember, solving a system of equations is finding a solution in the form of an ordered pair that fits more than one equation. So we're working with two equations at the same time. So remember, when we were graphing again, we find the answer of the intersection point by writing it in the ordered pair x comma y. So when we're solving by substitution, our answer is going to be written the same way, but instead of finding the intersection point by graphing, we're going to solve for each variable separately. And we're going to use substitution to do so. So here's what I mean. We have y equals 3x for our first equation, and x plus y equals negative 32 for our second equation. So let's look at these equations. The second one, we have x plus y equals negative 32. Last week, we had to convert that in order to graph it. It may take a little more time. However, the first equation tells us what y equals. It tells us that y equals 3x. Okay, so why don't I just, if I know what y equals, why don't I just plug it into y for the second equation, since I know these equations must give me the same value? That's what I'm trying to find. What values for y and x give me a solution to both of these equations? So if I substitute this 3x in for y, I can find that out. So I'm going to rewrite my second equation as x plus 3x equals negative 32. Now remember, when adding and subtracting, we can only combine like terms. In this circumstance, we have an x for both, so we can combine these. 1 plus 3 is 4. We have 4x equals negative 32. And then x equals negative 8. So I have my first point of my ordered pair. I found that x equals negative 8. Now in order to find y, well, now I know x, so I can take x and plug it back up here in this equation so that I can find y. So now I'm just going to write the equation y equals 3 times negative 8. So y equals negative 24. And if I plug negative 8 and negative 24 into my second equation, well, negative 8 plus negative 24 gives me negative 32. It checks. So here's this, my ordered pair, which is the solution to both of those equations. Let's try another example. Well, here we're not told that y equals anything. So we're going to have to get y by itself in one of these equations. I'm going to choose this one down here because y is already kind of by itself. Up here, there's a 3 attached to y, which creates an extra step. So down here, I'm going to get y by itself. So in order to get y by itself down here, I want to add this 2x, right, because it's minus 2x. So I'm going to add the 2x to both sides. I'm always doing the opposite. I'm always doing the same thing to both sides. So now these cancel. I'm left with y on the left side and then negative 3 plus 2x on the right side. Well, now I have a y. So I'm going to take this negative 3 plus 2x and plug it into y of my other equation. Once I do that, I'm going to get 3 times the quantity 3 plus 2x. And anytime you have more than one term, you want to put that in parentheses when substituting. That's very important because it's 3 times the whole thing not just 3 times negative 3 if you didn't write the parentheses. So plus 4x equals 14. Now we just need to simplify. So we need to distribute here. 3 times negative 3, and then 3 times 2x. Remember, we can multiply unlike things. So we have negative 9, 3 plus 2x, or 3, sorry, times 2x. 3 times 2 is 6, gives us 6x. So now we have negative 9 plus 6x plus 4x equals 14. I'm going to bring this equation up here. I'm going to combine the 6x and 4x since they're like terms. I have negative 9 plus 10x equals 14. I still need to get that x by itself. So I need to move this 9 over. I'm going to add 9 to both sides. So now I have 10x. 14 plus 9 is 23. Just 10x equals 23. Divide both sides by 10 to get x by itself. X equals 2.3. Now that I've found x, I'm going to take that x, plug it into this equation that I readjusted to find y. So I have y equals negative 3 plus 2 times 2.3, which gives me y equals negative 3 plus 4.6. Y equals 1.6. So now I have x equals 2.3, y equals 1.6. I always want to write it in an ordered pair. I know they're decimals, so they're not the prettiest things, but if we plug them into both of our equations, we will see they both in fact work out. Here's your word problem example. So a snack bar sells 2 sizes of snack packs. This is our real world example how these equations would set into place. A large snack pack is $5 and a small pack is $3. In one day, the snack bar sold 60 snack packs for a total of $220. So you want to know how many small snack packs did the snack bar sell? Well, we know that there's 60 total. So this equation here is going to represent the total number of snack packs. But we also need this equation here because remember, they cost a different amount. So we know we brought in $220. And we know that each X snack pack, which we labeled as the large one, is $5. And each Y snack pack, which is the small one, is $3. So in order to figure out how many snack packs of each we sold, we need to solve these equations simultaneously. So let's start with the simpler equation in order to get y by itself. Well, x plus y equals 60. All we have to do is subtract x from both sides there. So now we have y equals 60. Y equals 60 minus x. We're going to take this, plug it into y there, and we're going to rewrite that equation. So we have 5x plus 3 times 60 minus x is going to give us our 220. So we have 5x. Remember, we need to distribute this. Plus 180. 3 times 60 is 180. 3 times x is 3x. but we're keeping that minus sign. So it's minus 3x because it's positive 3 times negative x, or times opposite x, so we get a negative number, equals 220. Continue up here, 5x minus 3x just gives me 2x, plus 180 equals 220. If I subtract 180 from both sides, I get 2x equals 40, x equals 20. So I've sold 20 large packets. Now I want to know how many small packets I sold. Well, I want to plug 20, remember, back into this equation here to figure that out. So if I start out with 60 overall, y equals 60 minus 20, then y equals 40. So I sold 40 small packets and 20 large packets. All right, best of luck to you on the CYU and the Check Your Understanding. Please let me know if you have any questions.